Receiving a terminal illness diagnosis, a college professor adopted a carefree approach to life, cherishing every moment. This shift in perspective prompted a transformative journey filled with newfound appreciation and joy. Amidst life's uncertainties, he discovered the profound beauty of living without regret. At the start of the movie, we meet Richard Brown, a college professor, sitting in a hospital. The doctor delivers grim news, revealing he has late-stage lung cancer with only 6 months left to live. The doctor suggests a painful surgery that could extend his life to a year, but Richard declines. The diagnosis plunges him into a deep depression, making it impossible to concentrate on his work and causing him to lose all interest in life. Eventually, he decides to share the news with his family. During a dinner gathering, as Richard prepares to speak, his daughter Olivia interrupts with her own revelation. She's a lesbian and has a girlfriend. Her mother responds with laughter, angering Olivia, who storms away from the table. Later, Veronica, Richard's wife, confides in him that she has a painful secret to share. She admits to having an affair with his boss, Henry. Shocked and hurt, Richard confronts her, leading to a heated argument. Veronica angrily leaves the table, but before retiring to her room, she asks Richard if he has something to tell her. The next day, Richard lets students with good grades leave class to enjoy their day. He instructs the remaining students to read a specific chapter and share what they learn from it for a chance at better grades. Before they go, he asks if anyone knows about a cannabis seller to visit his office, surprising everyone with this unusual behavior. Later, Richard meets his friend Peter, who chairs the college where he teaches. Richard expresses his desire to retire and seeks Peter's assistance. Peter informs him that he isn't eligible for retirement and inquires about his reasons. Richard eventually admits he's in the final stages of lung cancer, leaving Peter shocked. Richard implores him to keep it a secret. In another scene, Veronica meets Henry. After spending time together, Henry suggests she work at the college where her husband Richard teaches. When she returns home, Richard reveals he doesn't care about her affair with Henry and announces their freedom from their relationship. However, he urges her to keep it secret to protect their daughter. Veronica agrees, and they share drinks. Just then, Olivia arrives home with her girlfriend, discovering her parents' situation and leaving in shock. The next day, Richard attended his class and inquired about cigarettes. A student named Danny offered him one, but after trying it, he didn't enjoy it. He then asked his students to introduce themselves to the class. A girl named Claire began the introductions, and Richard questioned why everyone needed to know her name. She replied that she was Claire and felt no need to introduce herself because she was the niece of the college president. Hearing Henry's name from her, Richard became upset and commented that her uncle was not a pleasant person. Claire agreed, and Richard interrupted the introductions, suggesting they all go to a bar to socialize. Excitement filled the room as everyone agreed to Henry's suggestion. At the bar, students began sharing stories about their families. Richard interjected, reminding them that one day they would all pass away, so they should savor life. He pointed out that they had learned various things to improve their lives, but found their current routines dull. During their conversation, a waitress approached to take orders, and Richard engaged in some playful banter with her. After she left, Richard followed her to fulfill his desires. Upon returning to the table, he asked his students for advice to give the waitress. The students were surprised and realized what had happened. Richard then instructed a student, Rose, to prepare to explain the book's topic. He confided in a friend about his encounter with the waitress. One evening, during dinner with Olivia, Richard inquires about her girlfriend. Just then, Veronica joins them, and Olivia becomes upset. Richard asks Veronica to apologize to Olivia. The following day, Rose explains the book's topic and shares what she has learned with the class. They listen attentively to her presentation, except for the professor. When she concludes, he remarks that she is a very emotional person and apologizes for his previous comments. He awards her an A grade and commends her efforts. After this, he makes critical comments about a recently constructed pillar in the college. One of the students informs him that the pillar was built by his wife. Richard retorts that his wife can't control his freedom to express his feelings or opinions. In the next scene, Danny visits Richard's office and brings a cake. He asks if he could inquire about something personal. Richard agrees, and Danny asks if he has ever had an intimate experience with a man. Richard responds that he hasn't had that experience. Danny then asks if he would be open to discussing the topic further. It becomes evident that Danny is gay, and the professor agrees to have an open and respectful conversation about it, appreciating Danny's courage in discussing his feelings openly. In the following scene, they hold a ceremony to honor the pillar constructed by Richard's wife. During the event, Olivia confides in her father, mentioning that Veronica is pressuring her to leave her school. Richard promises to talk to her mother later that night. Later, Veronica arrives at the ceremony and announces that she'll be going to dinner with Henry that night. When Olivia returns home with Richard, she questions why he's still with Veronica despite knowing about her affair with Henry. Richard explains that as people grow older, they sometimes deflect blame onto others because their lives have changed from what they once were. He then asks Olivia if she loves her girlfriend, to which she affirms. He advises her to recognize her own worth and importance. Later, Richard has a conversation with Veronica and informs her that their daughter is aware of her affair. She inquires if he instructed Olivia to keep it a secret. Richard clarifies that he merely advised her to live freely and not to be afraid of anyone. The following day, another student presents the next topic, and Richard gives her a D grade. He asks the class if they understood the explanation, and Rose responds affirmatively, praising the intelligence of the students. Richard then shares a lesson, stating that wisdom lies in confronting life's challenges head-on. Danny requests permission to smoke a cigarette, while Richard indulges in some drinks. During an outdoor class in the garden, Peter and Henry observe Richard's teaching. Henry becomes frustrated and angry with Richard's teaching style. In the next scene, at the bar, Peter urges Richard to attend a support group. This group consists of individuals who provide each other with mental support and share their troubles. However, Richard isn't keen on the conversation. When it's his turn to speak, he refuses and leaves. Later, Peter becomes emotional, expressing that his only true friend is about to depart forever. Claire arrives and finds Peter heavily intoxicated. Richard and Claire help him get a cab. Afterward, they share drinks, and Claire admires Richard's approach to life. Richard then confides in Claire about his lung cancer, leaving her shocked. She invites him to dance, but during the dance, Richard collapses. The next day, Peter visits the hospital to see Richard and is emotional upon seeing his condition. He implores Richard to control his addiction, as it is severely affecting his health. When Richard returns home, Veronica inquires about the night party with his friend, but he refuses to divulge any details. In the subsequent scene, Richard is in his office when Henry extends an invitation to meet in his office. Initially, Richard tries to avoid the meeting, offering various excuses, but eventually he acquiesces and enters Henry's office. However, as Henry begins to broach a certain topic, Richard becomes irate. Richard reveals that he's aware of Henry's affair with Veronica and the misallocation of college funds for the pillar. He asserts that these matters hold no significance for him and issues a veiled threat, pressing Henry to accept his retirement letter. Reluctantly, Richard takes the retirement letter and departs for Peter's house to attend his wife's birthday celebration. During the party, Richard experiences a coughing fit that results in bleeding. Concerned, Peter escorts him away and discovers that Richard has retired from his job. The next day, Claire presents a chapter on true love in class. Richard praises her and awards her a high grade. He imparts wisdom, reminding them that life will present challenges and they must confront them independently. He advises his students not to live in fear, seize opportunities, and lead a fearless, unstoppable life. Later, while in his office, Richard suffers another coughing fit and collapses. Fortunately, Peter arrives and Richard requests to be taken to the church. They sit there in silence, and Richard confides in his friend that he has only 1 month left to live. Peter expresses how much he will miss Richard, and hugs him. At night, Richard's daughter attends a party with her girlfriend, while Richard and Veronica go to a dinner event organized by Henry. Richard's actions take a shocking turn when he kisses Henry's wife right in front of him, causing Henry to become furious at his behavior. Later, when Henry invites everyone to the dinner table, Richard decides to sit separately from his wife, Veronica. As Henry stands to deliver a speech about becoming the new chancellor of the college, Richard abruptly interrupts him, revealing how Henry had misappropriated college funds, a revelation he obtained from his wife, Veronica. Despite Henry's attempts to silence him, Richard is determined to expose the full extent of Henry's wrongdoing, detailing every aspect of his misconduct with the college. After laying bare Henry's actions, Richard discloses to everyone that he is in the final stages of lung cancer, leaving everyone shocked and emotional. Richard then imparts some profound wisdom, expressing his own lack of understanding about life and the importance of recognizing death as an inevitable companion to all humans. He urges everyone to cherish their remaining moments and expresses gratitude to Peter for his unwavering support. Turning to Veronica, Richard offers a heartfelt apology for his past mistakes, and she becomes emotional, shedding tears. After leaving the party, Richard returns home to meet his daughter, Olivia, who tearfully reveals that her girlfriend had betrayed her. Richard consoles her, affirming that she deserves true love and is a strong young woman. He also delivers the devastating news of his impending death due to lung cancer, leaving Olivia shocked and in tears once more. Ultimately, Richard bids his daughter a final farewell and takes his dog with him. He gets into his car, determined to leave his family behind to avoid dying in their presence. As he drives on, he encounters two different paths leading in different directions, but chooses to follow the one that leads to a large river. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell icon, and stay connected with us.